Hello, everyone. This is Judy. I'm from HYPIA, and today I'll be interviewing Fabricio. Hi,
Hello,
Fabricio.
guys.
How
It's
are
a pleasure
you?
to be here with you, Judy. We've talked a lot before, like in the previous years, but it's nice to talk here in a more, like in an interview environment, let's
Yes,
say.
yes. I've always wanted to interview you. I've wanted to talk more, and now today is a good opportunity to do that. So, can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. So my name is Fabricio Carraro. I'm from Brazil originally, and I lived there until I was 27. And that's the place where I started to learn languages, actually, when I was around, I don't know, we can talk about it later.
Hmm.
But yeah, I started in Brazil. And when I was 27, I moved to Germany, lived a couple of years there, and then I moved to Spain in Barcelona, where I still live currently. My
Hmm.
background is not exactly languages, I studied computer engineering at
Hmm.
university, so languages was always a hobby for me.
Oh,
And speaking about that, like right now, I can consider that I can, at some level, you know how it is with polyglots, but at some level,
yeah.
I can speak around 14 languages. That's from
Wow.
A level to C level,
Hmm.
containing all of this. Of course, I studied more languages, but like Japanese and others, the Armenian, that I do not consider uh, between these 14 languages because I don't really speak them anymore. But these 14, I can at least go to the country and not starve to death. That's my
Wow.
baseline.
What are your languages?
So my native language is Brazilian Portuguese.
Hmm.
And then, like, let's say the C languages are English, Spanish, Italian, and Russian.
Yeah.
Then B2 and B1, let's put them all together. It'll be Polish, uh, French, German, Greek, and Turkish. And
Hmm.
A level languages, I'd say Romanian, Dutch, Croatian, and Hebrew. So that's
Wow.
sum up.
So that must have been a very long journey to get to your level, 14 languages. And how did that passion start?
Yeah, it's been like almost 20 years, I can say, that I started like learning languages as a hobby, let's say.
Hmm.
But I think the interest was always there, to be honest, because I was very lucky because my mom, when I was a child, she was working for a company in Brazil that
Hmm.
sometimes she had to travel abroad, like to the US. And also when I was a little kid, I was 6 years old, she got a prize to go with my father and with me to Mexico and the US. So it was like just like a leisure trip. We went to
Yeah.
Cancun and then we went to Disney in Orlando. But
Wow.
I had some contact with foreign culture and foreign languages.
Hmm.
And my mom, when she was not a teenager, but when she was studying in university, she wanted to go to the UK to
Mm.
continue her education there. And my grandfather didn't allow her to do that because
Oh,
it was like the 70s or the 80s or something.
yeah.
I think it was the 70s.
Mm.
So yeah, first they didn't have money, but also like she could, I don't know, get an internship or I don't
Mm.
know, something like some money from the government to go there. But my grandfather said no, and she never
Mm.
went, and she was kind of frustrated about this. And so I think she got this passion onto me growing
Yeah.
up. Then when I was like I remember when I was like in middle school, even before that, in primary school, some friends of mine, they had more money, so they were going to private schools, like a
Hmm.
specific to learn English. Like we were in the
Hmm.
same class at school, but they were going to like a private English school, and they were
Yeah.
learning English there, and they were trying to speak English to each other in class. And I was always like,
Wow.
damn, I want to. They have like a secret language, and I
Yeah.
want to be able to understand and be in the conversation. Also have a secret language. It's like kid stuff, but
Yeah.
I was like, huh. And then also when we had the PlayStation 1, I'm Brazilian, so we love football, most of us.
Hmm.
And I remember the first game, one of the first games that I got really addicted to was called Winning 11 to 2000,
Mm.
which was like a football game. And the names of the players and the menus was everything in Japanese, but it was in katakana because they're foreign names. And I remember
Oh,
I was going to the kiosk, to the
yeah.
newsstand kiosk, and I saw like a newspaper there, not a newspaper, sorry, a magazine, which was like learn Japanese alphabet or learn the Japanese language. and I just bought it. I was like, oh, interesting. And I noticed that the symbols were the same from my game. So I started like learning
Mm.
Japanese. It was not Japanese, it was just the alphabet, but I didn't know that,
Yeah.
to translate the names of the players. So I was like, I spent hours translating the names of the players. So like Ro, Na, Ru, Do means Ronaldo, and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. And I did this for a long time. But this doesn't count as learning languages. So it's just like things that happened in my life. I was like, ah, learning languages could be fun, or that got, I don't know, sparked some interest in me, I
Mm.
can say. The time that I really started really learning, of course, I learned English because you kind of have to at school in
Mm.
Brazil, and I went to a private school later as well. But the first language that I learned because I wanted to learn was Italian, because my
Oh,
family is originally Italian. Of course, like
okay.
most people in Brazil or in São
Yeah.
Paulo, at least.
Yeah.
And no one speaks Italian anymore in my family. But I remember
Hmm.
when I was growing up, my grandpa and my grandma, especially, they grew up in an Italian colony in the countryside of São Paulo. So
Hmm.
they did not speak Italian there, they spoke Portuguese, but they knew words that the old people from their generation would speak.
Mm.
So like like I remember my grandma, she was teaching me like this is a spoon, and the word for spoon in Italian is cuchara when I was a kid.
Mm.
And then when I went to learn Italian, that I was like 18 years old probably, she was like, I was like, it was this class about utensils and this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And the teacher was like, ah, so what is this? The spoon? I was like, ah, cuchara. I was like, no, it's cucchiaio. I was like, my grandma, she fooled me. Oh my God. But no, it's because she grew up in this colony where they didn't really speak Italian, like a high Italian, let's say. It was the
Oh,
dialect from the region of Veneto where they came from.
okay.
So yeah,
Cuchara is Espanol, is
yeah, yeah,
Spanish.
yeah. It's the word is Spanish, but it's also in the dialect of Veneto, like this region where
Oh.
this part of the family, my grandma part of the family and grandpa part of the family came from.
Mhm.
So yeah, Italian was the first one, and then I started to go to a class. Then came Russian. Then other languages came. But that's like the beginning of the story, let's say.
But you speak Spanish, right?
I do, yeah, but I didn't really like. I had Spanish at school, like,
Yeah.
but I didn't really pay too much attention to it. So until I moved to Barcelona, it was just Portuñol, like we call it, like
Oh.
the mix. Like I could speak it, but like with a lot of mistakes, with a lot of Portuguese words in the middle. And to be honest, even after I moved here, like I started to study Spanish and read books and do this kind of stuff because it's really easy. They're very similar, the two languages.
Yeah.
But I only started speaking confidently Spanish, I can say like maybe a year ago, which
Oh.
is like because 6 years I was here, but I was in a relationship with a person who was not a native, like not Spanish. And most of my friends, they were expats, and even the ones
Hmm.
who spoke Spanish, when we were in the group, we were only speaking English to each other. So
Oh,
I didn't
I
really
see.
have the chance or even the motivation, to be honest, to speak Spanish
Yeah.
because for me it's like, ah, it's easy. I'll learn later. And
Oh.
then when I got single, I started to go out on dates and this kind of stuff. And I had to speak Spanish with native people, like mostly from Latin America, but from here as well. And that's
Mhm.
when I started to kind of have to use it, the knowledge that I had. And after, I don't know, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I was like, I don't know, super fluent. Because before I had
Oh,
the knowledge, but I didn't have the fluency. And now,
I
like, after,
see.
I just needed a practice, like to
Mm.
start using it. And after like maybe 3 weeks of going on dates and speaking with more people, like on a daily
Mm.
basis, I can say that I was super comfortable speaking Spanish, like I am
Mm.
right now.
Oh, but I find it interesting how he started Italian before Spanish, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because
And
of the
Italian.
family, like it's my passion, like from my generation, I want it. Like Spanish for me is like, it's there. I'm gonna,
Um,
if I need it, I'll learn it. Italian is like no, it's like I want to do it because
oh,
I'm really passionate. Like I think there's the family background, but also like about Italy, the food, the culture, and
yeah.
all of this is extremely strong in Brazil. And with me,
Mm.
it was the same. So I really wanted to do that. And also, I
Okay.
wanted to get a citizenship in the future. Like
Yeah.
nowadays, I'm a citizen of Italy as well. Like I have both passports.
Oh, EU
So
passport. Good.
yeah,
Okay. Then why didn't you move to Italy if you love Italy so much?
I did at some point.
Oh,
But like when I went to do the process to get the Italian citizenship, I had to move there. Like you can do the process in Brazil, but there's so many Italian descendants in Brazil that the process in São Paulo, that was 2014, 15, it would take like 12 years to finish.
wow.
Whereas when you if you move to Italy, it's in average 3 months. Of course, it
Oh,
can be more or
wow.
less than that, but like I moved there, and I lived 4 months in Italy in Tuscany. So, but I
Mhm.
already spoke fluent Italian when I moved there, so it was just like a matter of I could do everything I needed. I had friends already, and speak to anyone. Like it was, I already had like a C-level Italian when I moved to Italy to do that. So, and I already had practice, so it didn't improve my level that much, or it was just like the pleasure of being there. But I noticed that living in Italy, it wouldn't be so easy because of
Mhm.
salary, because of finding jobs. And
Mhm.
then when I got the passport, I moved back to Brazil. I started sending CVs like to places that I could learn, that I could work in an international environment. And I think in Italy this is very hard. So it was just like
Oh,
I sent some CVs to Italy, but I was focusing on other countries.
I see.
And I got this job in Germany at first. And after leaving Germany, after 1 year there, I decided, okay, I don't want to live in Germany forever. It's not for me. It's too cold.
So cold, yes.
Yeah. But I decided,
Oh.
okay, let's move somewhere else. And Italy could be a potential place, but I wanted somewhere warmer
Mhm.
and with good job opportunities and more international. And that's why I moved to
Mm,
Barcelona, because I think like
I see.
Spain and specifically Barcelona is much more developed than Italy in this matter.
Mm,
But it was
yeah.
in life in Barcelona is better than life in any city in Italy I could find, to be honest. Like I love Rome,
Mm,
I like Milano, I love Florence. I've been to Napoli as well. It was nice. I didn't live there, but it was nice. But to combine like the weather, the job opportunities, the beach, the mountain, the
mhm.
people, not such a big place. I think Barcelona is better than any of the cities in Italy that we could find.
I see. So you moved to Germany after getting your Italian passport,
Mhm.
and then did you speak German back then, or?
No, not really. That's funny.
Mm,
I at this level, like I started, like I said, study Italian when I was around 18,
mhm,
and then when I was 19, I started learning Russian. I was at university at this time, and I used to live in
mm,
a dorm with some friends. And a guy came to me with a book. They say, Fabricio, I bought this book to learn Russian. I know you like languages, so don't you want to learn with me? I said, sure.
mm,
And we started learning together. But after like 3 months, he just gave up, and I kept learning. And I created an account on Vkontakte, which now is like VK,
mm,
which is like Facebook for Russians basically. And I just created a profile and I forgot about it. And I months later I got a message from a girl. They're like, "Hey, I'm learning Portuguese because I have a ticket to go to Brazil. We can maybe do a tandem." And I said, "Yeah,
mhm.
sure." And I ended up marrying this girl.
Wow!
Yeah, some like 2 years later we got married. I mean, we were too young, like we were 21, but
Wow.
like the marriage thing was because we wanted to live together, to be in the same place. We were like madly in love. So, and she wanted to come to Brazil, and I was still in university. So
Yeah.
in the end, she moved to Brazil because she wanted to live there, and we were like married for 6 years. And in this time, like she didn't teach me Russian, to be honest, because she said like, when you speak Russian, you are not my boyfriend, my husband. You are like a child. It's not sexy. So
Oh.
yeah, and so we could not really do that. I didn't really learn properly Russian with her, but like because of her, I had the motivation to keep learning and
I
to
see.
speak with her family, with her friends. So that's why like it's a big part of it, why I learned the Russian language.
Mm.
And then like we got divorced, we separated, and then I moved to Germany. And I didn't speak German, but I spoke some Dutch because I learned when I was in Brazil. Uh, I had learned
You learned Dutch
French.
before German?
Yes, because like
Oh.
the first time that I went to Moscow, it was to get married to her, and my connection was in Amsterdam, and I
Mm.
fell in love so much with the city. And when I came back to
Mm.
Brazil, I was already, my Russian was not great, but it was already all rightish. And it was like after I don't know, maybe 6 months, a year, I decided to start learning Dutch because of like maybe one day I want to live in this city. It's so amazing.
Mm.
But then like I didn't know about the weather because the day that I was in Amsterdam, it was sunny, it was amazing, and yeah, that's how they catch you, you know.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
So
German,
Dutch,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So like, and I didn't really speak German,
Mhm.
but I had learned. Oh, sorry, let me get into the place where I was. Yeah. So I learned Dutch for a while, but like was not great. It was like a, I don't know, I got to a B1 level at this point. And then I learned French as well. I was all of this was happening still in Brazil. And I
Mhm.
learned like a little bit of German when I decided that okay, maybe Germany is the way, and I got this job in Germany, but I didn't really speak it. It was probably like A1, A2 level when I moved there, around A2, I'd say. And I moved there again. I was in a job that didn't request me to speak German. I was my
Mhm.
friends. They're all expats. I think like from the group, one was German and one could speak German. No, two could two. One was German, one was Austrian, and one could speak German. Was a foreigner but could speak German, and the rest could not speak like a word of German or
Mm.
just the very basics. So I didn't really have the motivation to do that because of the job, because of the friends, because of the city, but because of myself. So I decided to learn by myself a lot. I was trying to read books. I was watching a lot of series in German. And I decided, okay, I'm leaving this country when I quit my job and I got a new job. And I say, before I leave this country, my ex-girlfriend at the time has decided, like, I'm going to Barcelona. Do you want to come with me? I said, yes. But
Mhm.
she asked, can you wait for me 1 year? Because I need 1 more year to finish my master's degree here in Germany. And then we move together. And I said, sure. So it was 1 year living in Germany, but working remotely already. That was 2017. I decided this year I'm going to learn German. So I
No.
did everything I could, and to the end, I got to the C1 level. Like I got the C1 exam.
Wow.
But yeah, that's been almost 7 years since I've done that. And since I moved here to Barcelona, I haven't really spoken German with maybe like twice, 3 times.
Yeah.
So my German is definitely not C1 right now. And
Oh.
I'm hoping on using ChatGPT now. I'm already using
Yeah.
it, the conversation mode, to kind of refresh, like to brush up on my German because
Mm.
I've lost so much of it, and it was so much effort to really
Mhm.
learn this language.
What
But
did you
yeah,
do during that year? Because I'm learning German right now and I need some tips.
uh, the I mean, I don't think I would do the same things that I did during that year if I were to learn it right now. Again, if I were to do it again, but like the good points are like getting contact with native content. That I mean, everyone says that, but in a way, I got a tip from Luca Lampariello that
Mm.
really I think it's the way to go about it. I got the tip much later, like many years later, but if I could start again, let's say, or get to an advanced level again, I would do that, which is like to get this native content. Like
Mhm.
you're gonna watch a series on Netflix. There's this extension called Language Reactor, I think is the name right now, or they changed, but it's something like that. That you can get the subtitles in English and in the original language.
Mm.
So you get the both sets of subtitles in the same page. So like you can print out, like literally print out, like English here, German here. And before you watch the episode, you study the episode. So you study, I don't know
Mm.
this word, I don't know this word, blah, blah, blah. You study the whole episode. It's going to be a big file. And I have like already like a whole Polish series printed. It's like 8 episodes, but I printed English, Polish. So you study before watching, and then when you watch, you recognize the words that you don't know, and it's not gonna be the first time you're gonna be seeing them anymore. It's gonna be already a
Mhm.
second or third time because sometimes even the same word appears multiple times in the same episode, or in the following episodes again. So I think this will be a better approach than the one I took, which was like just watching and trying to like get and write down before, like while you're watching, so you waste a lot of time. And yeah, reading materials, reading a lot of books, or trying at least. I didn't finish many, but like trying to read original content, but or
Mhm.
better than this, the content made for your level. If you can get like these graded readers, this kind of stuff help a lot. And the speaking with people, this is the most important part for sure. That was
Okay.
German.
And yeah, German is hard. I have to say it's not an easy language to
Mhm.
master because of the grammar and yeah, grammar is pretty complicated. So, you had all these languages and then you were working professionally as a computer scientist?
I worked at the beginning of this. I was at university. Then I
Yeah.
was working like 4 years as a programmer. And
Hmm.
then when I moved to Germany, I left. I think I had a burnout because I didn't want to see it anymore. But they didn't say anything about burnout at this time, like
Yeah.
2016. Yeah,
Yeah.
this was not a word back then.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to see it anymore. And I think it was because of exactly the project I was working on and I don't know. But yeah, I moved to Germany to work with digital marketing. I worked one
Yeah.
year with this there. And then after 1 year, I started to work for the company that I'm still working for. It's kind of like Coursera for like IT technology. Is like a online school, like Udemy for online school technology, but it's in Brazil. It's called Alura, and it's the biggest one in Brazil. But instead of unlike Udemy that anyone can just publish a course there,
Mhm.
we publish, we curate all of our courses. So
Oh, okay.
they follow our philosophy and all of that. And I started to work for them because the boss, the CEO, he wanted to create a sub branch which was about languages to
Mm.
teach English and Spanish to Brazilian IT people, let's say.
Mm.
And I was working in this project for like maybe 3 to 4 years, like
Mhm.
developing everything, like except from the programming part, coincidentally, but like
Yeah.
the concepts. And I use all of these concepts that I learned over the years on the forums, like the how to learn any language.org, on the
Mm.
polyglot gatherings. I absorb all of that, and I used to. I still it's still on, like the platform still exists, and I'm the teacher there to teach English from like
Mm.
0 to, let's say, C1 level or advanced level, at least the as much as you can learn on an online course, of course. But there are like 179 lessons for English, if I'm not mistaken,
Wow.
and 120 lessons for Spanish, for Brazilians who want to learn that. It's
Oh.
all in Portuguese, of course. And after that, like 3 or 4 years, we decided, okay, the job is done. The platform is online. They can learn. So I moved to the main company because I have the correct background with computer
Mhm.
engineering and all of that. So I moved to the technology company, and I am like a technical person there right now, like together, like working closely to the marketing and the content teams. But also, in the last 2 years, I started to dig deep into AI.
Mhm.
So I have one podcast that speaks only about AI. It's one of the podcasts that I have for the company, and is the
Mhm.
number one in technology in Brazil right now, according to Spotify. I have another one which interviews people. I'm on YouTube for the company as well, like talking about technical stuff and uh, going to conferences and doing things about artificial intelligence as well.
Mm. I see. And you also had Language Boost, is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. On the side, I was working with Lucas Bighetti. Actually, like the
Mm.
creators of Language Boost were Lucas and Jan van der A, which is like the people from the old times. They for sure they know Jan. He
Mhm.
was there at the beginning. Went to many polyglot gatherings as well, and they created a company together. And then at some point, like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, Jan decided to leave, and
Mhm.
I joined the company together with Lucas, and then Sebastian Stecker also joined the company. So it's the three of us now. So it's things are going slow for now, but we're deciding new ways on maybe what to do and how to continue. We have like 17, no, 22 courses for 17 languages.
Wow.
The most recent one was for Turkish for beginners, like the Voca Booster for Turkish. And
Mhm.
we have also the Jumpstart courses, which is like video classes for the five main languages, like Spanish,
Mm.
Italian, French, Russian, and German.
Wow. So your professional journey, you started off as a programmer and then you got into the language industry and you're now working in AI?
I'm
Well,
not
not
working
working in AI, but
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm studying. I just finished a postgraduate degree actually, like 4 months ago,
yeah.
on machine learning and artificial intelligence. Like because
Wow.
I like learning. I enjoy
Yeah,
learning in general. But yeah, my what I do now is kind of like the name of the title is program manager, but I'm also like I'm the technical responsible for some stuff, and I'm like the face of the company for AI. And I
yeah,
also have this side project with Lucas and Sebastian, which is languages, like language boost. So I'm
yeah.
doing a lot of stuff here and there.
I see. And how did you find out about the polyglot community? How long has it been since you've been involved in this?
Oh, uh, the first time it was when I was learning probably either Russian or I think it was Russian. Yeah, because I remember exactly. I was already like already could speak Portuguese, English, some Spanish, Italian well, and I was like on my way to learn Russian. And one day I was at university. I came earlier than I should have, and I was waiting on the computers. I just went on YouTube and I saw a video like Italian guy speaking 8 languages. I was like, wow. And I opened it and it was like Luca Lampariello. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
it was like the first video, like his first video. And it was
Yeah.
just like recently published. And I was like, oh my God, this exists. Like there are other people like me who also like to learn languages.
Mm.
So I started to research and then I found out also about like Richard Sinkett and Steve Kaufman. And I went on this forum, which was howtolearnanylanguage.org. All of these people were there at the beginning, like Richard was
Oh,
there, Luca was there. Then Benny came around, like Benny Lewis and some other like famous polyglots from this period, like Jan van der A even. And yeah, I was all the time on this forum, like talking about my development, getting to learn other languages from these people as well, from the way they learn languages, like their best methods and techniques. And I remember the first polyglot gathering was on 2014. I could not
oh,
join. It was in Germany, in Berlin. I was
yeah.
still in Brazil. But the one in 2015, I joined because it was the time that I went to Italy to do my citizenship, my passport.
Mhm.
And I was there in Europe at the time. So I just went to Berlin and then went to Italy later. And it was amazing, like to get to know these people
Yeah.
in person for the first
Yeah.
time. The community was much smaller back then, but it
Mhm.
was that's even better in a way, like because you get closer to these people.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And since then, I think I went to basically every polyglot gathering. Maybe I missed only the one in Bratislava or something like that.
Yeah.
But like there were like three in a row in Bratislava, and I went to maybe only two, something like that. But yeah, and during the pandemic, of course, we could not have. We just had the only online one. But I think I've been to most of them, at least 8 of them. Yeah.
Wow. And HYPIA, how did you find out about HYPIA?
Yeah, people, HYPIA came to me actually, like Matthias came to me. He
Um,
found me, I think on YouTube probably, or he knew me from YouTube because I had a YouTube channel. First, only the one with my name, like Fabricio Carraro, Brazilian polyglot. And then I joined the one with Language Boost with Lucas
yeah.
Bighetti. So I have like these two. And then I created another one, like it's called Time to Learn Portuguese. It's more like a like it was on YouTube and podcast version. More recently, I gave up on the YouTube part. It was only the podcast. But yeah, I think he knew me from all of these projects, or at least from one of them. And he invited me for HYPIA, and I was glad to join because it's languages, the community is super nice.
Yes. Is there a language community in Barcelona?
Yeah, it's actually huge. I remember when in Brazil, like when I was still living in São Paulo, I moved there and I was looking for something like this. We had the couch surfing meetings every Tuesday there in São Paulo, which was not exactly for languages, but in the end it was because like a lot of foreigners would go there. And that's the place that I would go to look for people to speak French, to speak Russian, and etc., and to make friends as well. And when I moved to Germany, I was in a small town, so it was harder. But at the same time, there were many expats there, like not expats, but like people on Erasmus studying there. So in a way, I could practice some languages there. In this town, it's called Passau. And when I moved here to Barcelona, I found out about the Barcelona Language Exchange, There are
Mm.
many events, to be honest. Like there's Mundolingo, but I think the biggest one is this one, Barcelona Language Exchange, when they have language exchange almost every day. It's like Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays every week. The
Oh,
biggest one, I think it's on Fridays, and it's like normally around 80 to 100 people there at the same time. So it's like really, really huge. So it's basically a polyglot gathering every week we have here in Barcelona every
wow.
Friday, because there are people who
Oh,
live here and go there, but there are
yeah.
also people who are just tourists and they have nothing to
Mhm.
do on a Friday evening, so they go there to have a beer or something.
Mhm.
And you have the old style, so you have like the name, like the name tag with your name, your native language, and the languages that you can
Yeah.
speak, and you just go
Oh,
around like looking. This one speaks Greek. I'm gonna speak Greek with you. So it's
like
very nice.
Mundolingo,
It's the
right?
same vibe, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
think I have the impression that Mundolingo here in Barcelona is smaller than this community, the Barcelona Language
Mhm.
Exchange.
I see. And also, I had a question about your languages. So you mainly speak, well, I would say you speak most of the European languages
Mhm.
and also Hebrew. And have you tried learning any Asian languages?
Yes, I mean Turkish. It's not in the European you can consider, and Hebrew. But I learned Japanese for 6 months, and
Mm.
it's a pity that I lost it because it was exactly this moment when I first went to Italy, then I came back and I got the job in Germany, and I had to learn German. So, for being such a different language, when you don't practice it, you just lose it, you know. So I know words and I can have like super basic dialogues, but I don't speak. I never put it as language that I can speak. But I learned it for 6 months, and I would like to go back at some point to Japanese because it's a language that I really appreciate. I learned Chinese for a month, but I cannot say that I learned. I can say that I was playing with the language for a month just to
Mm.
see how it looks, how it is. But I don't have any connection to
I
China.
see.
To
That's
Japan,
important.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. To Japan, I have a couple of friends from Japan, and even before, like the Japanese community and the culture in Brazil is huge
Yes.
because the immigration was huge.
People
And
Japanese.
yeah,
Yeah.
with China, I mean, we do have a lot of Chinese, but they're not so much in the culture. I'd say that
Mm.
we didn't have anime or things like that, like
Mm.
from China. It's like a more
Yes.
close culture. At least it was in Brazil when I was growing up.
Hmm.
So I never got this connection, and I didn't want to learn Chinese. With Korean, I think it's more like a recent thing, right? With
Yeah.
K-pop, K-drama, Korea
Yeah.
going abroad, the movies as well, like
Hmm.
Parasite and all of that. But before, it was not a thing, at least in Brazil or
Yeah.
when I was growing up.
Hmm.
But I was considering actually, like I was talking to Lucas, to Sebastian, and to another friend of ours, Camille, maybe moving this year to either Osaka in Japan or Seoul or another city in Korea to stay there for 1 month, learning the language and getting to know the culture. We are considering,
Oh.
so it may
Mm.
happen.
Yeah. I know that Benny went to Korea for a while to
Hmm.
learn Korean. Yeah. And I don't know if he speaks Korean fluently now, but anyway, it helps to live in that country and
Yeah.
immerse yourself in the language.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least to create like some connection, right? Because then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I have this friend from Korea now. Like I have you, but like
Yeah.
if I have more people, it's gonna be even stronger connection. So it's
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. And one last question for you. Do you have any tips for language learners or people who are interested in languages?
Yeah. Uh, if motivation is key. So like
Hmm.
when you start learning a language, know the reasons why you're learning that language, because there are like thousands of languages that I started and I gave up after 2 weeks, after a month, because I was like, I didn't have a strong enough motivation. It was just like let's see how it is. That's fine. It's not a problem. You
Hmm.
can play with languages like I did with Chinese, with Hungarian, with whatever, Armenian. But if you want to really learn the language, know why you're doing that. Even if the reason why you're doing that is a silly reason, because I want to eat kimchi, and I love kimchi, or because I want to find a girlfriend from Russia. It's a stupid reason,
Hmm.
of course, but at least have a clear motivation in your mind, because it's going to make it easier for you. Discipline is key. So do a little bit every day. It's better than doing this classes that you're like there 2 hours, 2 times a week, like twice a week.
Mhm.
It's better to do 15 minutes per day than 2 hours twice a week. And try to listen a lot. This is one of
Mm.
the things that I didn't do a lot when I was learning many of my languages. And I could realize later that it's a weakness for me in those languages. Like I didn't have a good enough year when I was like, I could speak whatever I wanted to speak because I
Mm.
know the vocabulary that I have, and I can create words. I can put an English word in the middle. The person's going to understand maybe. I can communicate myself, but I didn't always understand the answer. So like listening and trying to like maybe read and listen at the same time to connect how the sounds, how the phonemes are represented in text. I'm a visual learner, so I
Mhm.
kind of like see the words in my head when I'm trying to look for these words. And for me, I would have done that. And this is what I do like nowadays when I'm learning a language. I try to listen a lot, even if I don't understand everything. But I try to listen, even if like you get the transcript, the subtitles, listen and read at the same time. This helps a lot.
I see. Those are very helpful tips, and that'll be it for our interview. Thank you so much, and I'll hopefully see you at the gathering.
Sure, my pleasure. I'll see you there.
Thank you.